I always knew something was wrong with my family, the way my mother flinched when I talked about becoming a doctor, or the way my father changed the channel whenever a hospital drama played on TV. But nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to uncover. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. It started after I fainted at my university lab. One second I was preparing slides, the next I was waking up in the infirmary with an oxygen mask and a nurse whispering that my blood pressure was abnormally low. The school insisted I get a full medical checkup. I didn't think much of it. I was a stressed-out med student. What else was new? But when the doctor at the clinic frowned at my test results and said, "When did you have your kidney removed?" I laughed. "I've never had surgery in my life." He looked back at the ultrasound screen and pointed, "Your left kidney is missing." The room started spinning. I could barely breathe. I called my parents in a panic, expecting comfort. My mom's voice cracked with fake concern. "Oh, honey, maybe it was a mistake at birth?" "A mistake?" I snapped. "Mom, that's not something they miss on birth records." My dad took the phone. "Stop being dramatic. You always were the fragile one. If you have one working kidney, be grateful." That night, I tore apart my baby records. I found nothing about surgery. No hospital admissions, no explanation. Just an old receipt in the back of a file labeled emergency loan. It had a strange clinic's name on it dated when I was 13, the summer I was bedridden with what my parents claimed was a bad flu. Fueled by disbelief, I searched the clinic. No website, no registration. I drove to the address. It was a rundown graffitied building, boarded up with a rusted sign barely legible. Silverline Wellness and Sleep Disorders. Nothing about surgery, nothing about kidneys. I called the state medical board. They had no record of Silverline ever being licensed. That night, I confronted my parents. They didn't even pretend to deny it. My mother sat on the sofa like a queen sipping tea. "You don't understand. Your sister needed tuition. Your father lost his job. What were we supposed to do?" I couldn't speak. My body shook. "You were asleep most of that summer," my dad added, uncaring. "The doctor sedated you, said it was best." Sedated, as if I had been livestock. "Why didn't you ask? I was a child, but I had a right." "To what?" My mother spat. "Say no? We're your parents. We made sacrifices for you." They made a profit. And the worst part? My sister got a brand new car that fall. She flaunted it at school, said it was a gift from heaven. I had believed it. I packed my things that night. I left that house and never looked back. But I didn't cry. I documented everything. Took photos of the file, the receipt, the boarded-up building. I hired a private investigator. What we found next made my blood run colder. The so-called doctor who ran Silverline, not even licensed. He'd been disbarred in 2 states and was now on the run under a new alias. My kidney had been sold, and not for a small sum. It was worth over $130,000 on the black market. They'd taken it from me while I slept, and when I woke up confused, they told me it was just a fever. I wasn't just betrayed. I had been trafficked by the people who gave me life. And now, I was going to make them pay. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. Not after I confirmed the truth. That was what they wanted, my silence. And for a while, that's exactly what I gave them. But silence doesn't mean surrender. It means strategy. I quietly changed my phone number. I moved into a rented studio on the other side of the city. I picked up extra shifts at the university hospital and applied for internships in forensic pathology. I wanted to understand how people got away with this. I wanted to study the kinds of people who could lie, drug, and dissect their own daughter for money, and sleep soundly afterward. While I studied, I planned. While they celebrated holidays without me, I gathered documents, filed police reports, and worked with my private investigator to trace bank transfers from that summer. Sure enough, my mother had received 2 large deposits that same month, one under her name, one under my father's. They didn't even try to hide it. They just assumed I'd never find out. Or worse, that I wouldn't matter enough to care. But I did matter, and I wasn't alone. At the hospital, I became friends with a lawyer named Evelyn. She was older, sharp as a scalpel, and had spent 10 years prosecuting medical fraud cases. I told her everything. She didn't ask if I was sure. She didn't ask if I wanted to press charges. She just said, "Let's burn them legally." Slow and public. We filed a lawsuit, not just for the organ theft, but for child abuse, endangerment, and fraud. The moment it hit the court records, my parents panicked. I received a text from my mother. "You ungrateful brat, after all we did for you." Then another, "You're ruining your sister's wedding with your drama." Ah, yes, my sister, the golden child, the same one who wore designer shoes bought with my kidney, the same one who, when I told her everything, replied with, "I didn't ask them to take it from you. Don't be so dramatic." No apology, just entitlement. But the best was yet to come. You see, I knew something they didn't. They thought I was still the girl they drugged at 13. But they didn't know I had friends now, resources, and a plan. A month before the court hearing, I mailed anonymous tips to every major news outlet, complete with documents, receipts, and an encrypted folder showing where the money went, and how. I even included a list of other suspected victims tied to the fake clinic. Silverline had been operating for years. The day the news hit the internet, my parents' faces were plastered across every local site. The headline read, "Parents accused of selling daughter's kidney to fund lavish lifestyle, clinic tied to black market organ ring." My inbox flooded. Messages from distant relatives, classmates, strangers. But the best one? A voicemail from my dad. "What have you done? We lost everything. Are you happy now?" Yes, I was. And I wasn't done. The courtroom was cold, but my hands were steady. My parents sat on the other side, disheveled, smaller than I'd ever seen them. Mom had traded her pearls for a wrinkled cardigan. Dad's shoes didn't shine like they used to. My sister, always pristine, avoided my gaze as if I were a stranger. They hadn't expected the case to make it to trial. They assumed I'd crumble, withdraw, beg to settle in private. But I didn't. Because what they took from me was more than a kidney. It was trust, my sense of self, my future as I knew it. And I wasn't going to let them walk away with that. The evidence was airtight, thanks to Evelyn's brilliance and my meticulous trail of documentation. The court saw it all. The falsified consent forms with my forged signature, the fake hospital that never filed a single patient record, and the text messages Mom accidentally backed up to a cloud account, bragging about the easy payday after the surgery. But it was the hidden footage that changed everything. Months before, I had returned to my parents' house under the guise of reconciliation. I said I wanted to make peace. They invited me in like nothing had happened. That's when I planted a tiny recorder behind the family photo on the mantel. 2 days later, I captured my father laughing to a friend on the phone. "Of course she doesn't know. She was 13. She didn't even know what they put in her IV. That kidney paid off the SUV and helped with the down payment on the beach condo." I played the audio in court. The judge went pale. My parents stopped blinking. My sister, for the first time, looked like she was about to be sick. They were arrested before the sentencing even finished. The court ruled in my favor. $5.2 million in punitive damages, a lifetime restraining order, and criminal charges pending for fraud, endangerment, and participation in an illegal medical scheme. But that wasn't the end. That was just the punishment. The revenge? That came afterward. I took the money, not just the awarded damages, but the settlements from the class action lawsuit that followed once my case exposed dozens of victims from the same fake clinic. I used it to start something new, a foundation. It's called The Second Voice. It funds therapy, medical screenings, and legal help for children who survived medical abuse, whether from family or fake clinics like the one that stole from me. I bought back my future, and then I started giving away a future to others. Last week, a little girl named Maya, 7 years old, with a soft voice and eyes too serious for her age, hugged me and whispered, "I thought no one would believe me, but you did." I cried that night, not because I was broken, but because I was healing. My parents? They're still in court, fighting multiple charges. Last I heard, their lawyer quit halfway through proceedings when he learned the full truth. My sister tried to reach out recently. She said she didn't know and that she was just a child too. I didn't respond. Instead, I mailed her a copy of the Foundation's annual report. On the cover was a photo of me, smiling, standing with survivors, one hand gently resting over the scar on my side. Inside, I'd written a single note. You knew, and now, so does the world. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.